Welcome to
Okay.
Dare Be Authentic Radio. I'm your host, Mari Mitchell, and I'm really excited to be here with you again today. Now we're on video, which is so exciting for me, and have a beautiful guest. Her name is Aurelia. She's dedicated to helping women build self-confidence and find their own sovereignty in stressful or overwhelming life circumstances. She also helps them navigate through the challenges of building and maintaining physical wellness in food labyrinth of toxins that are so prevalent right now. Aurelia, who herself lives with autoimmune disease, has been studying wellness for almost 30 years, and she's been providing grounding support and validating women's experiences as she empowers her clients to navigate difficult areas of their life with grace. Welcome to the show, Aurelia. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. How are you today, Marie?
I am doing great. So happy to have you. Look at that smile. I absolutely love it. So let's start with what inspired you to do what you're currently doing to help others?
Yeah. Well, I am a health coach as well as a licensed mental health counselor. So I have always been for kind of like today we can reframe that as a mental fitness
Ooh,
with helping others with uh, empowering and improving their mental health and wellness, both mental, physically, and spiritually.
I love it.
And so so I work with a whole array with mental health. Of course, I've worked in a whole array of mental health. But right now, in this time of my life, I am really excited with kind of bringing that all together. I have a background where I started off in my 20s with struggling with autoimmune disease, which was not quite specified because my doctor didn't want it to be too specific. Because here in the US, if you have a pre-existing condition like that, that can preclude you from getting insurance.
Mm.
So it was never fully specified, but I live with a host of really debilitating struggles physically during the course of my 20s.
Wow. And so tell us a little bit about your story about getting more healthy.
So I've always been a very physically fit person, swim instructor, lifeguard, and in the early parts of my life, I was an avid cyclist. And when I was hit with these autoimmune issues, um, gosh, I had joint inflammation or inflammation all throughout my body. Affecting joints I didn't even know I had, like in my feet and walking and things like that. I remember specifically thinking when I was 25, like this is supposed to be the height of my life, and I feel like I'm 80 with the
Wow.
way I couldn't raise my arms above my head. It was kind of like I had to bend down and lift my arm up to do that,
Wow.
things like that. And so in that journey, I had a positive interaction with a naturopathic chiropractor doctor who um, first opened my awareness to maybe it was the foods that I was eating that was causing this because I was adamant with my rheumatologist doctor that I was not going to take steroids, which was popular during that
Right.
time. For
Right.
you have an autoimmune, you have lupus runs in my family. Uh, put you on steroids. And I knew I did not want to do that, did not want to go the taking all these pills route. Um, and so I started looking at my diet and at the suggestion of my chiropractor at the time, who was telling me to do things like take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar 1 or 2 times a day and to start eliminating the grains that I was eating. I've been a vegetarian since I was age 12. That was my whole family. And so I also had issues with getting enough nutrition
Mhm.
as a vegetarian in the 80s before it became hip to be vegetarian.
Right.
So I had some dietary issues with that, with not getting the full amount of nutrition on top of that. And so back in those days, being a vegetarian really meant you were a pastatarian. You didn't eat a whole lot of vegetables. You ate breads, pastas. When you went to restaurants, it was pasta primavera was the standard vegetarian dish. And so all those things I started finding out were not very healthy.
Right.
And so I mean it sounded healthy, pasta primavera, you got some vegetables in there, but it wasn't. And so I started learning that as I started eliminating certain things from my diet, such as pastas and breads, which was painful, and and crackers and all those. I mean, we have our diets are really full of carbohydrates and processed foods. And so that was also the thing that I started noticing that as I started eliminating some of these grains, breads, pastas, and so forth, that it also I was noticing that the trend was processed foods were things that were really negatively affecting my health. And so this was over, I can't say I learned this right away. This was over like a 15, 20-year period where as I experimented and started noticing, raising awareness of what I was eating and then how I would feel afterwards. I started eliminating, and noticed that I was gradually able to start living a normal life again.
Wow. It's amazing. And
So that was a full journey
yeah,
that my passion right now is to help others not take 15 or 20 years to start noticing a healthy wellness in their lives.
right. That's awesome. And now our food is even more toxic than it was back in the 80s. So we have to, stay away from even more than we used to have to, right? That's awesome.
Yes.
And I can see why you're so passionate about it because it was your journey. You walked it. And
Hmm.
I must congratulate you because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to take bread out of your diet. I'm gluten sensitive, so I don't eat bread. I love bread. I
Gosh.
love bread, but it,
Right.
it doesn't love me. Let's put it that way. And so
I would
yeah, and it wasn't just bread. You had to take so many things out of your diet. So
absolutely. And one of the high points, I guess you can call it like a medical high point, I guess you could say, was in the earlier, like in the 2000 teens, like somewhere around 2017, 18. I went to a doctor and I was just kind of gradually or casually giving him my history and told him how like I completely control my autoimmune issues through diet. And he was like looking at me like, wow, you're so healthy. Because I'm in my mid 40s now. And during that time, now I'm in my mid 50s. And I'm enjoying in my 40s and 50s, I'm enjoying the most health ever. I do regular yoga. I'm very flexible for my age. I spent the last, during COVID times, I was living in the Philippines and joined a yoga studio there in Negros Oriental in the Philippines, southern half of the Philippines or Central Visayas Islands. And the point is that I was doing yoga with young ladies who are in their mostly young ladies, men too, in their 20s and 30s. And
wow.
so I was 20 years older than most of my co-yogis, and they just could not believe. And so I was kind of like setting the example, or I was kind of a little bit of a trendsetter. I'm in my 50s and doing these yoga poses. So
Fantastic. Wow, that's wonderful already. I love that. So let's talk for a minute about the role authenticity plays. The show is called Dare to be Authentic. So let's touch on that for a little bit.
yes, what so I strive to live my life to walk the walk that I like to teach. So I'm all about empowering women to live to open themselves and living their best life, to go from surviving, because we're in a gosh, especially since COVID, we're in an environment that is constantly changing. There's so much going out there without getting into any of the different political views or this or that. We're in an environment that is in change, active change right now. And a lot of people are not comfortable with change.
Mhm.
And so how do you navigate through that and live your best life? So I'm into going from surviving all these changes, like what's going on today, what's going to shift today, to thriving within this. So that's being able to navigate through the shifts and wobbles through life and come out on top.
That's great. And we've had I mean, living through COVID was a tremendous change that I hope we never have to face again. And really traumatized, I think, almost, I would say everyone. Everyone had to be traumatized by that. And then, like you say, even more changes since, and they continue to change. Things continue to change to be, to me, more difficult than they were when I was much younger. But
Mhm.
I love that there's someone like you to help support someone because, we can decide to look at all the changes and say how bad everything is, or we can decide to look what's good in our life.
Absolutely. And that part of that is about shifting your focus. Part of that is also about empowering yourself on, on what are the food trends, because as you mentioned, it is more challenging today to notice what's going on because there's a lot of things, especially in American culture, in American stores, that it's labeled one way. We're really big on the marketing. Our marketing is um, really fabulous with presenting foods and making them look like that's the greatest, healthiest thing. Um, and I'm showing friends and my boyfriend who consider himself living a really healthy lifestyle with, my goodness, well, if you read the label, it's not what it might appear to be. And
Mhm.
so here we are thinking that I'm getting these healthy foods and I'm eating these healthy foods, but I'm not noticing the health that I would expect. And maybe that's just part of aging. And I'm saying, no, it's not. Those healthy foods are not as healthy as they might be promoted to be. And
Absolutely.
so I've been studying this for, since my 20s, and learning and learning and learning and keeping on top of that's a passion to me because, feeling good is passion for me. I don't want to slide back into how I was feeling when I was in my 20s,
Mhm.
where I was sick and disabled. And so I keep on top of these things. And so my passion is to share that and empower others to live their best life, to feel healthy, to not feel run down with autoimmune. Like autoimmune is raising rapidly in our society. It used to be that was not um, something that we saw too often. And now it's becoming more and more ordinary, I guess.
Mhm.
And so my passion is to show others how you can overcome that through taking being your own sovereign beings for your health and wellness. And through that, feeling better because our physical health influences our mental health and our spiritual health. And so how does all that wrap around together to promote a a brighter you, a more empowered you,
Mhm. Yeah,
a you that can radiate. So empower is one of the foundations of my coaching program is empowering you to be your best you so that you can grow and begin to radiate
I love it.
into your higher self.
I love it. I love it, Aurelia, because I coach as well. And one of the things I come across is people have no idea that they have the power. They see themselves
Mhm.
in a circumstance. You were in a circumstance, but you empowered yourself to get out of it. But my favorite thing is when they realize that they have a choice, that the power is in their hands, it's like their eyes go bright. I'm sure you have that same experience.
And so, like, I enjoy working with clients and seeing that blossoming come through. So, the foundations of my coaching is to empower, so you can start to blossom and radiate from a place of empowerment.
I love that. I was thinking as you were talking that in your 20s, like you said, when you're supposed to feel best. And when I look at my 20s, I'm like, wow, I could do anything. I was so this, I was so that, and now I'm so old. But you're just the reverse. You're like, now I'm 50 years young and I feel amazing. And everybody can have that. We have this idea that as you age, you have to get weak and you have to get sick and you have to get feeble, but you're changing all that.
And that's the other thing is that's what I was doing. That's what I really enjoyed showing and demonstrating when I was living in the Philippines is when young women would hear that I was in my 50s, they would be like, "Oh, I thought you were, much younger." And that's my other message is I like to show women we're in an aging society that aging can be beautiful and fun and empowering as well. See, there's that word empowering again.
Yes.
Um,
Really like that word.
I love that word. And stepping into your sovereignty, being independent and not dependent on other things. Now we live in an interdependent society, but within that, stepping into our sovereignty as beings and being leaders for ourselves and within being able to support within from that leadership position from within ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. And when it comes to our health, that is very
Mhm.
important, especially the way our medical system is. We really have to be aware and we really have to take charge. We don't have to do everything the doctor said we need to do. Like you
Like,
didn't want to take those anti-inflammatory drugs. They're very harmful. And that was
yes.
really wise decision. You wouldn't be in this kind of health if you had been taking them all those years. There's no way. Yeah, fantastic. So, what do you think is the main message you want to bring to the public, Aurelia?
Well, I want to show people how we can step into that inner power, that outside um, sources that have been in those places of power. We're noticing or we're watching them crumbling down a little bit right now. And in that place, we can step into that power. So instead of giving our power away to the doctor or we can stand in for ourselves and say, "Hey, this is what I want," and do it from a place of education, which is I provide education and learning how to look from within ourselves and I always say I like to work myself out of a job when I'm working with someone because my job is to show you how you can do these things yourself so you don't need me anymore and
Mhm.
hopefully you might recommend me to someone else who is struggling and wanting to step into that empowerment for themselves and need some guidance but my that's part of my authenticity is I work myself out of a job when I'm working with you. But my goal, my message is to show you how you can go from survive to thrive in any environment.
We really need that right now. We really need
Mhm.
that. And so, would you share maybe one of your success clients that you were really successful with?
Yes, I have a I have a client who was a wedding planner who was very stressed out
Mhm.
and and very anxious, and she was a mom, a wife, and a mom of two young children, and a wife, and running her own business. And she was just kind of like, I am struggling with all this anxiety and not knowing like how to calm myself or to work in these when I travel and such. And so through step by step, I taught her how to like grounding, um, and gradually taking control, looking at her thoughts. That's the mental fitness piece, and looking at the health piece as well. So that when she traveled, she had her knew how to calm herself, how to relax, and bring forth that confidence, so that she was thriving within her own business. And she graduated a few months ago from working with me, and I haven't heard from her since. So I mean, that was a wonderful, wonderful. Like she just launched up and was, just by the end of the time, it's like, you're ready.
Wow, that's so awesome. I love that. I love that. You have to fire your client because they're ready.
I was like, you're ready. You go forth and do. And I'm working with another, actually a gentleman who is also finding him. So I don't just work with women, but I like to specifically empower women. But I'm working with a gentleman right now also who is finding his wings and also a business owner. So it's, you know,
Yeah.
he's
Business owners,
finding
business owners have it tough. I know for experience. There's a lot of stress, but there's so much that you can do, and it's mostly up here.
absolutely, it's in here and it's in here.
And here.
So work from all those places.
Okay, very good. So let's talk about for a minute about how to get a hold of you if somebody's interested in your coaching program, etc.
My I have a website which is my last name, which is also my spiritual name. So Erivynn, ERIVYNN.com. So everything is through there. My email is also my last name, Erivynn, ERIV like Victor, YNN at gmail.com. And I am slowly getting into social media. I have an X account that I'll be putting up the links on my website, and I'll be connecting with you too, Marie. And I just rediscovered my Instagram account, which is also Erivynn. So X is Erivynn, Instagram is Erivynn, and I will be starting those and launching those soon.
Fantastic. And whatever links will be right here on the podcast. And as you create new ones, we can add them. So the information is right here for everybody. Very good. So, one last thing that you'd like to say to listeners, something that's really dear to your heart today.
Well, it's all about, you know what, our happiness lies within. We are in control of that. And so right now I feel like I am just radiating with joy um, with the thing, the all the changes are bringing, I'm just excited.
Yeah,
So my passion is to you, show whomever I'm working with how to find and radiate from that inner joy that is within us all.
wow, that's beautiful. And I could see it. I can see your joy. I mean, you're smiling so big, but it's more than the smile because there's smiles that are not happy smiles, and I can detect them. But you're truly radiating with that joy. You know, there was a time in my life where I was not happy. I remember I would cry myself to sleep almost every night, and all I wanted was to feel happy. And as I worked, I actually coached myself as I worked more and more. One day I just woke up and I was full of that joy. And I discovered that it was inside of me all along. It wasn't anywhere else. I didn't have to go dig for it. I thought I,
We create our own happiness. Yes,
yes. And we create our own misery as well. So it's
that as well. Absolutely. And that's part of that empowerment and stepping into your own sovereignty.
absolutely. So, anything else you'd like to share with the listener?
I mean, I encourage you to each person to empower themselves. Is give yourself that gift of empowerment, whether you're working with me or going along on your journey, but it's there and it's wonderful.
That's awesome. I have a question from a potential question from what could be a listener, and they would say, Aurelia, I don't feel like I have any power over my life. I'm in such a place that circumstances, people, everything has power over me. What is
Mhm.
I can do?
It's all about perception. So it's kind of like looking at what do you have power over, and let's put some focus on that.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. Very good. And so you did that. You changed your perception when you were young and you didn't take the doctor's diagnosis. I love that. That's just the most amazing thing. Uh, and say, okay, I'm whatever, this is my life. I'm stuck with the life of this body. But you
Hmm.
didn't want that. And you made changes for yourself. And now you're helping others. And there's nothing more beautiful than that.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been so lovely having you. For the listener, make sure that you spread this. If you listen to this and you love it, just spread it around to people you know. Check the details at the bottom here for all of Aurelia's links, and catch us next time on Dare to Be Authentic podcast. Bye
I
for
forgot to,
Oh
and
yes.
I forgot to mention it's Petals of Change coaching. So
Oh,
that's what it's called.
that's why you have those beautiful. I absolutely love
Petals of
that.
Change.
I love that. It's such a soft, there's such a softness there because change can be such a scary word,
Mhm.
for people, for me, for anybody, because we're like, I kind of like where I am, even though I'm not crazy about it, but it's comfortable. But when you say petals of change, it changes everything. How were you inspired for that? How did the inspiration for that come to you?
I love roses, and everything I do it's roses. So yeah, a connection with that.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
roses have such a deep history, meaning in our history. So,
Could you share quickly something about the roses?
well, I mean, roses can stand for it in the spiritual sense, and I'm not religious, but like Mary Magdalene and Jesus or lifeless Yeshua, there's the roses, there's the mystery of the roses and the petals and just the essence of the rose in the world of flowers is so special. It's a basis for perfumes. It's just there's just a lot of mystery within the rose.
Fantastic. I love roses since I was a little girl. I would walk to school, and there was this one house. I lived in New York City, and there was this one house, happened to be a house, not an apartment, that had a garden outside of it. And the roses, I don't know how many rose bushes this lady had, but they were just everywhere. And they were coming out of the garden into the street. So I'd bend over and smell them. And I just fell in love with roses right then and there. I've always, always loved them. They're my favorite. So, okay, well, thank you again so much for being on the show. And we'll catch you next time on Dare to Be Authentic podcast. Bye for now.
Bye for now.